Hey there, everyone! Sorry for the slightly late Patreon video here. If you tend to watch them always on time on the, on the on the, Sunday afternoon. Last Sunday, I was a little bit busy. Basically, there's not really any story. It's a pretty boring thing. Basically, it's his family had required some help to move a couch from an apartment into a house elsewhere in the city. And the unfortunate thing is that there's no real story to it. Everything happened pretty much as we planned. Nothing, no accident, no real anecdotes other than, good family time. And I was rewarded with a delicious dinner of bacon and tomato pizza. And I don't mean like tomato sauce, I mean like whole tomato slices. Is surprisingly good in atop a pizza. And yep. And that ended up taking up a lot longer than usual. I like to, for these videos, I like to upload them as early as I can, as soon as I'm done with them, usually. And they're done processing and uploading and whatnot. So that's basically the story of why it was a little bit late. I know, I would have probably a better story if it was like, I did the groceries. But no, it's not even that. It's just, it's move a couch. It's a heavy thing. It requires more than one person. Unless you want to scuff up everything, but then stairs are involved because it was from my apartment, and I know I live on a second floor. Technically, it's not my couch though; it's my roommate, and yeah, it's going to a house of someone else in the family, and good times were had by some, including me. Let's be honest here. So let's go! Was there ever a game you played that, after starting, felt like a chore to finish? Again, it was way harder than you expected, for example. One that made you dread having to keep playing it just to finish the series for YouTube purposes and wasn't fun anymore. Alex Fortin. This happens more than I'd like to admit. Even before I did this as a quote-unquote job, no, doing just Let's Play, I always feel compelled that I need to end the game. There's been 2 instances now with this not happening, Hina, and Mariari, the first of the name. There has been games, however, where I kind of had to force myself to finish, and I think typically you can kind of tell. And I don't think you'd be super surprised by what I would say. The first Mariari, it's been a long time, but I would not so much, but things like production, the first of the name from Sumar Central, legit, I would almost push back my recording session during the day because I didn't want to play at some point. It's just no, I like a challenge, but at some point it's just too much. On and up, smartphone. Meat Boy, yeah, no, it's a smartphone. Meat Boy, they're so similar as a name. Did not reach that yet, even though the series, basically tomorrow morning, on Tuesday morning, I'm gonna have uploaded part 60, and it still hasn't really reached that point, which is surprising. I got a bit less patience but still, I think, that's kind of a testament to the quality of the game. The Zombie A2MT was kind of like that for most of the run. Was I gotta play this. There's some good things in there, and I want to experience it, but I know that once I start playing, I'm gonna be playing for possibly an hour of doing the same thing again and again, and it's a killer. It happens. At the same time, imagine that's the only bad part of your job ever you could have. That's a blessed life, It's I don't got no reason to complain. If the worst thing can happen is that, oh no, I do not want to play this game all that much anymore. Valda's story reached that point, and ultimately, yeah, I guess that's the third game I never finished. There's others, but I think you can kind of tell Like, I'm pretty sure you can. You can tell if the following game, if I'm all like, oh, hey, ho, ho, we're yellow, everything is super awesome, great. No, usually that's, I think, sign of, at the very least, something. Pronunciation, Lucia Niemann. Wow, that's a big question. Like, I don't have as many questions today, but they're super huge questions. So in my eyes, there's three main LPer movements, and although they overlap a lot, their goals and when or why they start LPing are what separate them. The essay/ROM hack LPers, these were the first crowd and really started the whole concept, and these includes yourself. Talking about me. They entered during a time when there was lots of con from SA pouring onto video websites. The Minecraft LPers were entered just after the Minecraft boom and developed a character and actor-based form of content since the game content wouldn't change much. These include the Yogcast, period. I'm good at reading ahead. And lastly, the COD/Profit LPers joined after noticing the success of the Minecraft channels and wanted that sweet, sweet YouTube money. This includes the Game Grumps. What that person, that's what Lucia says, not me. As a person of the first group, how do you feel about the current state of your kin in this video game video-dominated age? How do you feel about the other two groups? Have you watched any videos from players like the Yogcast and Game Grumps, and if so, what did you think? Zia man. Of course, like, you have to understand that there are gonna be people who join in late. There are still gonna be under, working under the influence, so to speak, of a generation that's like more in the back. Wow, I am good at talking about my thoughts here. It's pretty great. So yes, also perhaps, also maybe, also I don't have any problems. However, I have almost no interest in their products. Like everyone, if they can monetize this and they don't mind losing part of the fun of playing by making a job, because remember, there has been studies about this. A person will gladly do something for free and be super happy about it, but once money gets involved, they stop wanting to do it. And when they were the first people that were really benefiting from Let's Plays, it did kind of hurt me a little bit. But at the same time, I was always kind of like in the upper echelon, I guess, of interest. Like, I was even proposed for a TV thing that was unfortunately canceled due to the economy hitting the poopers back in the aughts and stuff. But, still, that's kind of like where I always was. So I always felt I didn't really have a room to speak there. But nonetheless, a friend is just a stranger you haven't met yet. What? No. But yeah, I just, people who are doing Let's Plays for the sake of, personality's sake, I can't get interested. Quick looks are almost that with Giant Bomb, and even that, I'm just kind of not really all that interested anymore. It is literally white noise while I'm doing something else. Maybe if they redid a continuous series, or maybe it's just because Vinny doesn't do anything anymore. That's probably it, honestly. But, for example, I tried to watch the Game Grumps. I watched a very much suggested Goof Troop episode, and I thought it was entertaining. It was a terrible Let's Play, but it was entertaining. That cannot be denied. However, I had enough after that. I tried to watch another series, says nope, and this is not doing it for me. This is just more of the same, and I got my fill. It doesn't feel like a Let's Play. It's clowns clowning around, and I mean that always existed, even in the Something Awful days. I remember fondly, Taxidermist Pasta was kind of like one of the first real personality over in Something Awful forums for Let's Plays, where, he didn't play, he just played whatever trashy game, and also, Bobble Bobble with, Virgilon, I think? I forgot his name. And, it was what it was, but he made it entertaining. There's nothing wrong with that, But if what you put out is not especially varied, I can't say I'm gonna be especially interested. But because I'm a lot more interested in the games themselves, while personality-based Let's Plays tend to put focus on personality and not a game. And and you got now fans who are used to that notion, as in they're gonna watch a Let's Play that does not put personality first, and they'll think it's boring and watch something else. And like that's fine. People have their taste. They like what they want. That's super great. I like what I want. I know what I like, and I find people who service that need from me. That's really all there is to it. I don't have much of an opinion otherwise. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm kind of bothered, but like, okay, no, that's not true. I used to be kind of bothered, but I don't let it get to me anymore because it's pointless to get bothered by this. People are gonna like what they like, and that's fine. Like, as long as no one's getting hurt, and no one's getting hurt, as far as I'm aware, that's super great. Keep on going. Keep on doodling on. I'm always kind of bothered because for a lot of these questions, y'all are asking me my opinion on things, and I've realized a lot over times that my opinion seems to often be I don't really have an opinion. So I try to go into the why. It's the problems of being a what can you call a person that, like I go out of my way to be as fair as non-judgmental as possible. So it might not create the most entertaining answers, but I try to be honest, always 100% honest, so that happens. Since you mentioned catchphrases, what do you think of your TV tropes page? Do you enjoy reading stuff like this, or does it bother you? Second question. If Asmata has never existed and you had to build a canon for Demo and Friends completely on your own from the start, how would you go about it? Also, I'm sure you'd enjoy Paper Mario, even though you're not huge into RPGs. That's super fun. By the way, this is Black Escargot. I changed my username just in case you vaguely remember me from commenting sometime. Okay. I actually do remember the username Black Escargot, so hi! Well, how you doing? What are you doing there in text form? I find my TV trope page thing fascinating. Sometimes I do check it out from time to time because it's a good way of finding out things about yourself, like about what I do and how it is perceived by people that are not necessarily talkhousers and whatnot. It's an indirect way of me getting feedback that I don't necessarily get a whole lot because I have let's be honest here, a astoundingly positive fan base. So basically, like also, no, I think it's funny seeing my trends, things I do tend to do and stuff, and with examples and whatnot. And, I see examples of what people think are funny, and it helps me guide a little bit to figure out what works, what doesn't, and what I can hopefully do about it. I don't really have much of an opinion about it outside of that. Like, TV shows is just such a weird, crazy place. It really fell down in popularity compared to how it used to be, but it's still really active, it looks like. It got a site redesign, and there's a lot of effort to try and make it more neutral and better made than it used to be, too, with like more sensible titles and stuff, and try not to be just this big rolling ball of catchphrases, like inside baseball phrases that they use. So that's good. Kind of. Yeah, sure. But yeah, no, I love reading that kind of interpretation and stuff about me. Like it helps a little bit. You just gotta be smart about what you take seriously and what you don't. And if I were to, I'm not sure how I'd go about building their world and personality. I would probably start by really broad strokes about themselves, and go from there. Like kind of like how I build a lot of my ATX. I got too many projects with similar acronyms. like the cast there, basically a lot of them are started from concepts that you see in media and just kind of like extrapolated or tried to make a bit more realistic or unpredictable, and that's probably something I could do. Like I'd probably base each character into some kind of video game, let's call it trope, and extrapolate from there their whole personality and whatnot. To give an example, like Garish is all, moldy and liquefied. People went in a direction I did not anticipate with him and make him all like super libertarian and all like he's basically an android, and he's all like, oh, he has a personality like Napoleon superiority complex and all that. I never would have envisioned that from him. If anything, I think he's kind of like all liquidy and whatnot. I would see him a bit more confused about things, maybe. Like, he's like, kind of on the slow end of things, because, like, his water's like a water level, let's say. How do you describe a water level? And I would go that way, but people went a completely different direction, and that's fine. I'm totally okay with that. The biggest shock, I'd say there's two of them. There's, Pilly, who is like actually appeared in what the hell, and like in what the hell she was kind of like a prankster sort of person. I would have probably continued that with her rivalry with Demo, but according to actual game canon and thus canonized reality, she's actually kind of like one of the nicer ones, and she has that whole government conspiracy thing for some reason that exists that I can't like back away from. So and also Panamona, like I would have made her a lot more shy, but no, in fact she's power hungry monster, and that's completely different from what I would have done. But canon, my rules of canon, it's in a game, so it's now official, so there you go. I just think it's more interesting that way, because I think ultimately people come up with things that are way more interesting than what I can come up with. Like, if you consider how kind of cliche my ideas there and compare to how the actual finished thing is, I mean, yeah, it's a lot more interesting. I don't know, maybe I'm just speaking out of my butt. Who knows? You talked a bit about character design last week, and that was really lovely, so thank you for delving into that. I've always been really impressed by the world design in Aricel. I especially like Chapter 3. Do you have any specific process when designing the world for each scene? Is it a collaborative thing or more solo? Alan, it is definitely collaborative with my buddy AOD. In fact, I'd say like a lot of it is just us brainstorming ideas. Like, we're gonna brainstorm a lot of ideas in short story and whatnot, and we're fully aware that not all of them are ever gonna be done. So what I do is I try to slip like hints of stuff we did think about, here and there in the background and whatnot. We just think about concepts. Okay, like, hey, I just thought like something. Okay, you know what? We just thought of what's something we did legit think about recently. We're like, okay, so magic is canon in the world of Aricel. Like, we've seen a lot of magic going on. So, and also it's in not Asia. No, it's not quite in Japan, quite in ancient China. But we figured, okay, so of course this means ninjas exist, so of course ninjutsu exists, so what does this mean? What can a ninja do and not do compared to a wizard like Charlotte? And just kind of went from that, and it's a lot it's talking, like, if you're ever creating a world, creating some kind of like a series or something, anything like that, I do my biggest by far suggestion is always, like, think about these things with a friend that have similar tastes, but will still have a different point of view on different things, because that is going to do a world of difference, and it's gonna be like it helps so much in created a really rounded, completed world. It's incredible. part. As I respect this beautiful creature depicted here as my new god, I swear upon it to keep the intimacy exclusive to the monks of the Patreon cult. May the sprout of the lamb shell lead your way. Rock on, sisters, throw your ankles. Also, I'm really getting curious about inspiration for your art. This speaks to me so much, and you just seem to put it there. Is there a chance to see some of your drawings done on paper, or just like stuff that actually costs you a big amount of effort? As well as maybe like a link per video leading to an exported version of the image that can be viewed in full res. I really love to have this image to the best quality possible to work around it on it for a little for future avatar things. Oh, by the way, regarding my name, it's pronounced like Z in French. Xi, Xi. Okay, since it seems to trouble you. So Soleo Xisgrek. I guess Xgrek. I've just read it there, but even then I'm not sure. Maybe you didn't notice, but with every Patreon video, there is a link. It's under the video player of the full image that I drew. You might notice that the resolution isn't that high, but that's the resolution at which I'm working on these. I'm used to working at extremely, basically small resolution in order to mimic the most what it feels like to actually like draw on paper. My Deviant art was probably your best bet for like I got my Deviant art, which I believe is Raocow, and my Tumblr, which is Fast Forward. Forward, there's no W, no R, but so like the FASTFOWARD. I tend to put whatever I do that's not for private purposes in both, so you can always go and take a look. But admittedly, there's not a whole lot done. I don't draw nearly as much as I used to, nor digitally paint or anything. But what I did do is around in there. It's floating around. But yes. I just like speed sketching and stuff a lot more than doing a concentrated piece for some reason. Why? I wouldn't be able to answer you. I've always liked quick, dirty things. That's just the reality of my taste. You'll notice that a lot of the art I like and whatnot always tend to be the quick and dirty kind, because I find that expressiveness is more important than detail, so that the details that are there become that much more significant in the matter of speaking. So yeah. So that's back. So yeah, but yeah, the small image you see linked with every video, that's the image I drew in the resolution that I drew. So take care of it if you want to use it. Crop and whatnot, you're gonna have to work from that, unfortunately. I know you won't really be able to print it out on a shirt or something, but sorry, like I can't give you something that doesn't exist. At least not yet. Maybe one day someone can do the lamb shell with a 3D printer. That would look pretty weird, but would probably obfuscate some kind of sense. Who do you think is going to win Maggle X2? Asks Horikawa Otani. You're not tricking me. I know that if I make any kind of supposition, you're gonna remove points from me. So nuts to that, I'm not saying anything. I plead the fifth. Honestly, I have no idea who's gonna win. I have no idea. Maybe Will Hart. Will Hart. He is a master craftsman of level, and I know he participated. But otherwise, like, there's just so many factors. I know there's a lot of super good, talented, Smebek's community people. I assume they're gonna make it far. But I maybe would have put my bet on Spoony Barn again, but he is very much convinced he's not gonna win, so I'll take his word for it. But in so few people in the prediction thread went ahead and said, yeah, I'm gonna win for sure, that I don't know enough about the people and don't necessarily remember what they do. And like, we're talking about one person out of 271. All I know is it's not gonna be me, and it's not gonna be 269 other people. Who is gonna win? I have no clue. I literally have no, not even close to an idea. What would you do if you were walking to the bathroom and a group of well-armed penguin ninjas jumped out of the toilet to attack you? What would you do when your first instinct failed because the penguins were too awesome for you to beat that easily? Pengu Penguinson. I would, throw my arms up and, just kind of like say, yeah, no, don't hurt me. I relent. Go, please do not harm me. I am, tell me what you want. I'm just gonna give up right away. Like, that's my first fight or flight. Ninja penguins, it's flights, or just relent and admit defeat straight ahead. You can't do anything against that. Why even try? Like, that's just, it's insulting to try, almost. Not to that. Nuts to all of that. Penguins, you don't mess with penguins. They shoot bullets from their mouth at spaceships. And I am less than a spaceship. Do you have a favorite hairstyle? Like, not for you, but for characters and things. I mean, you can include yourself if you want, but I mainly mean, like, fictional things. Be kamikaze. I like very simple hairstyles, like, especially in fictional characters and real life alike, honestly. But in fictional characters mostly because it doesn't detract like from the character, and I like long straight hair because it looks, you can do really neat things with movement with that. It can look super neat. But also, like shorter hair can look pretty cute too. But that becomes more of an aesthetic thing. But like, there's less you can do with it, so to speak. It depends a lot of the work too. But yeah, like really simple. Like, just that the hair is just kind of like there, like not tied up in any special kind of way. Would be what I'd answer. You got a lot of weird. Well, not weird, but you got a lot of, like, aesthetic of fictional characters questions, I realize, over time. Are you trying to create me a waifu? Is that what you're doing? What period in human history do you find most interesting, and why? What is the oldest book you have read? Fieldypot, he didn't ask why to that one. It's a mighty good question, though. Theoretical future is probably my favorite, but I don't know if that is something I'm allowed to vote. I find really interesting realistic depiction of the Middle Age, like not necessarily fantasy, but the Middle Ages, with the way that religion worked back then, I find is super fascinating. So I'd be up for that a lot. I think it's the most interesting because it's the interrelationship between, like, the nobles or, like, this weird thing existing in their own bubble. And you got this completely disenfranchised fiefdom that have basically nothing to do. And then they're kind of like a host-parasite situation going on. And it's, like, although the technology is super different and there's so much parallel with how it's working right now, it's really interesting. I think it's kind of weird and fascinating and kind of scary. Actually, it's super scary now that you think about it, because it's like nothing has changed in forever. Oh no! Oldest book I have read. I've read passages from the Fairy Queen rather, but I haven't read the whole thing. Well, I mean, at the same time, I've read passages from the Bible, and I haven't read the whole thing. That would be the oldest. If you mean a single book that I have read from top to bottom. Oldest one, term of age, is probably Don Quixote from Cervantes. It was supposed to be read for school back when I was in college and when I had a liberal arts class. Except ultimately I ended up reading it for, like, it was almost accidental that it was for school, because I was very much enjoying my read indeed. It is a fantastic book if you can deal with the language a little bit, but even then it's not that bad. Really funny, like, it's genuinely funny, and it's really subversive, and you know, it makes fun of genres and stuff. It's like there's a lot of meta humor, which is fascinating also. Think about it. It's so old. Where am I? I don't know! When your level will come at Magal X2 Let's Play, are you going to do the same thing as last year and have someone else playing your level, or are you going to do something else? Also, since you mentioned Persona 4 at 1733, Heart Emoticon, I'm wondering whether you know about the Persona / Shin Megami Tensei series. Felix Quiet Pro Tag. Probably gonna make someone else play my thing, but I don't know who yet. Like, I don't know if I want to reuse the Terraformer, or if I should use someone else this time, just for the sake of, you know, variety. I was maybe thinking of asking, well, I wanted to ask, like, I'm gonna say this, I know, Uncle Roundy, around the wheel, RTM, except that, I don't know, like, he basically requested it to be blind, so I was like, okay, no, that's not gonna work, because I want a blind experience, because I want to see how someone would experience my level without knowing anything. So that kind of like threw up on my plan. I'm probably gonna ask someone else, but I don't know who yet. I'm thinking ISO, but I don't know how comfortable he is with Smebex, because my level is pretty hard compared to last time. If anyone wants to volunteer, if I don't know what you do in terms of playing video games, if you could maybe show me an example, because I'm going to be a little bit picky, because, you know, it's going to be on my main channel and stuff. So, yeah, no. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, why not? Let's make it an open invitation. Maybe something will strike my fancy, but be aware that I'll only choose one person. Ultimately, I might choose someone else completely. I don't know yet what I'm gonna do. I'm just saying words. I don't know a whole lot about Persona Shin Megami Tensei. It's just that I have watched Persona 4 Endurance Run back on Giant Bomb and enjoyed it quite a lot. It's a pretty good video let's play of, you know, very text-based RPG with turn-based battles and whatnot, which, you know, would swear couldn't work. But it's, you know, it's a case where you want. It's weird because, you know, I started watching because of the personality, because I like Giant Bomb, but I got entranced in the game, and they're speedy enough about the battles and whatnot that it's okay. And I knew nothing about the game, so I wasn't at all annoyed or angered by their mediocre card. What's it called when you fashion the cards in that game? I forget. You know, when you mix them up and you do things. I don't know. I actually don't remember all that much. I mostly remember the characters. Like Persona 4, at the very least, is a game much more about the characters than the intrigue or whatnot. At least I find so. It's like almost like the game is there accidentally as a means to give something to support the characters on, which isn't a bad thing in itself. But it's kind of like why I don't play a lot of RPGs, because that's a huge time investment for something that it's not the ideal, perhaps. But my thing, maybe that's why that's interesting, because like it's got like this sort of like character story thing, evolution going on in a medium that's not really ideal for it, but it's there. But because it's not ideal, you need to do things that they wouldn't need to in other medium. I don't know. There's something about a long-form video game that permits the kind of long-form interaction that you wouldn't necessarily have time for, especially not in a movie, but not even maybe like in a show or a comic. It's interesting, because you need to get to the personality and stuff of people faster, but because you got to get through things, you know, you got to keep things moving, but at the same time you have like 40 hours, so you can go in a lot of depth after you hurried through the introduction, so to speak. So actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it lets you do something pretty neat. I don't know. I never really thought about it, so thanks for forcing me to think about it. John Paul George Ringo asked Mike Kuwataharu. Paul, yeah. How do you come up with so many video descriptions each day? Asked Will Hart. I don't know. Sometimes you can tell I'm not really inspired. Man, both, like, I need to think of each video has a description, another description that goes in the post, a title, which may require some thoughts, even if I do have a title gimmick, and also, because all y'all are crazy, I need to think something for the tags. Sometimes it's just going to be pure gibberish that's coming to mind. Sometimes it's things that's going to pop up as I'm writing things down. Sometimes it's stuff I remember thinking from when I was playing the game. There's no real method to it. It happens as it happens. Who do you think would win in a fight? God, Emperor Raocow, or Captain Alligator? Asked Monsieur Javetme. Well, Captain Alligator has time powers, and God Emperor Raocow is not aware of it, so he will be surprised by time powers. So obviously, Captain Alligator is gonna win. What is the method you use for coming up with time gimmicks for your video series? Like, do you just have it come to you, or do you actively seek out new ways to title videos? Preston Knobloch. Again, it just kind of like comes to me usually on a whim. Or sometimes there's sort of like an accidental similarity between two videos, and I just kind of like run with it. And sometimes, just an idea will pop up, and I'll say, okay, you know what, I should use that in the future, and I go ahead and use it. It's almost 100% spur of the moment kind of thing. And there's like really not much more to it than that. Like, it's just and I don't actively seek out, like, I'm not afraid not to have a naming gimmick. Like Super Meat Boy, there's no naming gimmick there, and that's fine. Like, I don't want to force myself because I don't want it to be too forced. When I was starting with a lot of gimmicks, I thought my gimmicks were too gimmicky, and I kind of dial it down, because it's not fun if it's too apparent or if it detracts from the actual thing. Which is why I like to do things like using like level titles and whatnot, because at least it kind of relates to it, kind of. Sometimes I just have fun and stuff. I should have fun more. God Emperor Raocow, if you were to consider creating 5 otherworldly minions, then decide that was too many, and create just one, what would that minion be? Man, Demo is already the perfect minion. She can replicate, so you got as many as you want with just one. Also, she's eternal, and extremely, has many abilities, and a lot more than you think, considering all she is a torso, 2 legs, eye, and hair. So Virgilon, yeah, I mean, I always refer to Demo as a space demon minion. As the library says, they're the perfect minions. I'm the one that wrote that book, and I still stand by that. So, Raocow, you once mentioned looking at TV shows to make sure you're not going stale. Do you really do that? If so, how often? Sapphire Crook. I did that all of twice ever in the world. Like, I like to look it up sometimes, but I don't really take it that seriously. Like, I just kind of like said, I remember I said in the sense that kind of implied it happened often, but in reality it doesn't really happen all that much, let's be honest. I'm just fun. And Ketchup, yay, nay, or meh? Oliver Duke or Henriksen, sorry. Mostly meh, unless we're talking hot dog. Okay? Hey Raocow, in which case it's super yeah. Hey Raocow, have you ever watched any video game movies? If so, did you actually like any of them? Pyro Socks. Let's see. I watched the Super Mario movie as a kid in theater, and I don't remember much of it, so I don't have much of an opinion. And at the Christmas Advent thing, I got Wreck-It Ralph, which just counts as a video game movie. Now, I enjoyed it a lot. It's not a perfect movie, and it has its weaknesses, but it's still pretty entertaining. Um, ha- oh, Mortal Kombat. I saw the first one in video and I thought it was alright. I saw the second one in theater and thought it was terrible. Like, my opinions here aren't exactly, like, ground shattering. I never saw the Street Fighter movie, like, at all, so I'm trying to think if there's any other video game. Like, I haven't seen any of the horror ones because I don't like horror all that much. The world is scarier enough as it is. Don't need to hasten that. I don't think I've watched any. Like, unless I'm just forgetting something here or there. It's very possible. But there's not that many video game movies, actually, now that I think about it. Do you prefer salads with or without meat? Crispy. Without. To me, I still associate salads as a thing that you eat that does not have meat inside. I mostly ate salads back when I was vegetarian. Now I barely eat any anymore. But yeah, without. It's salads, you're eating green. Recycle your salad, kids. For an actual question, have you ever had to care for any babies? A sibling, a nephew, niece, a cousin, babysitting job, etc.? If so, how did that go? Lovely penguin. Yes, and I do not like it. And I think young kids are aware of it. and it's just that, there's a thing where if you don't like kids will be somewhat attracted to you in the sense that they will try to spend time around you, because a person that dislikes kids is more akin to treat kids like adults and speak to them as such, which kids love. Like, the kids love not being talked down to. And I've fallen in that trap, like in family reunion and whatnot. I've always been that weird age where I was, like, too old to go, like, too young to hang out with the adults, with my cousins, my uncles and aunts and all that. But I didn't really have any young kids, like, my age. I said young kids, but there wasn't really much kids. So I always hung out with, like, the small kids, and, like, they like to hang around me, I guess, because I just treated them as equal, because I don't like babying. Babying as a thing is something I detest. I'm sure that as soon as I get a kid of my own, I'm gonna switch gears on this, but as it hasn't happened yet, well, it hasn't happened yet. But I don't like it all that much. I'd rather just, like, a cat is takes less care than a baby, and a cat already pushes it for me a little bit, so there you go. This might have been asked before, but whatever. Has any scene from fiction moved you to tears? Asked Micklefire. Yes, but I get moved to tears embarrassingly easily when I watch a movie or read a book or something. I just get into it way a lot, and it's super duper hyper easy to pull my heartstrings if I'm not being facetious about things or being all like I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that, but there you go. One last question. There weren't many that questions this time, but a lot of them required some time, so this is a long one. Are you planning on playing Distorted Travesty 3 when it comes out? I love the first two LPs, and they had some kind of charm to them I couldn't put my finger on. Where do you think it'll place in Magalex 2, Zmombo? I will definitely play Distorted Travesty 3. I don't think that will require a Patreon vote, because I'm pretty sure a lot of you are gonna be way into that too. I've been looking for the game. Like, dude has working on that game for such a long time now, and apparently it's close to being finished. Looking forward to that for sure. For sure. Yeah, like, Distorted Travesty is probably one of my better Let's Plays, even though I get really angry in part. But it's just such an earnest game, and, like, it uses the fact that it's a fan game of everything so well. It's a love story to video game, and at the same time is such a good, complex game itself. It's just so good. Just so good. And out of 270 in Megalex 2, honestly, I'm somewhere between 150 and 100. That's where I place myself without having played all the other levels. Because I don't think my level's that good. It's much too hard, but it has a lot of personality, and I think there's a lot of good ideas in it. It's just that it's back. I was back in my what the hellion days of never stop anything, you know? And I was fully aware of that, and I am willing to live with the consequences, but that's about where I'd see myself. Whew! It's a long one.